The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's not Jeremy Greene. Brian Haynes is sitting in with us this morning in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different, and let's get the first time me and you.
I love it. I'm ready to have some fun. Yeah, right. No doubt.
Cool deal. We got a lot going on in the sports world, as we've got Wilt Chamberlain getting passed up by Steph Curry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last night, 50 spot for old Steph Curry, and the ginger got his monkey knife fight pretty wrong last night.
Yeah, absolutely. He failed miserably on that one.
On the Sports Take with Jeremy Greene on ESPN Asheville, he advised everyone to take Steph Curry under the points last night, and that did not happen.
Not at
Steph
all.
going off 50 points last night, passing Wilt Chamberlain on the all-time scoring list for the Golden State
For
Warriors.
the
Warriors. It's the Warriors team list.
Yeah.
Of course, we had Julian Edelman retiring, as well as the end of an era. But it's not that big of a deal. I mean, yes, Julian Edelman's a great player and everything. But let's stop with all of the discussions on whether or not Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer. Please, this just shows you how little we have to talk about. So we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
Coming up over the next hour here, taking your comments as well on the YouTube stream. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you get all of the videos, premiering videos on the hour, every hour. It feels like.
Oh yeah.
We're going through all of the team-by-team, 3-round mock drafts. Jeremy and Brian are doing a hell of a job with those. We just had one premiere earlier today, so if you are not caught up, you can go back and check out the playlist. Be sure to hit like and subscribe so you know every time that we have new content coming out on the YouTube channel. Teddy Bridgewater, is he going to stay in Carolina? Are they going to be able to get rid of him? Should they cut him? I don't know. That's part of the discussion as well. Also, A.J. Hinch returning to Houston. It was a pretty big deal. And then there's
They love him there. They absolutely love him.
Why wouldn't you? The guy got you a friggin' ring. Why wouldn't you love him?
Right.
He gets a warm reception. That's another thing that just grinds my gears. But hey, I got somebody willing to talk some baseball, so we're going to talk some baseball today on the program. So let's jump into it here. Julian Edelman, you got to start there.
Yep.
Julian Edelman retires from the NFL. Everybody immediately wants to jump into this conversation because every Patriots fan is fucking drunk.
Yeah.
And they all think, Julian Edelman, he's a Hall of Famer. Now, I'm giving them the same kind of shit that Jeremy gives me over Greg Olsen.
Okay.
I just hope nobody who's laughing at me about Greg Olsen
is
saying that Julian Edelman is a definite Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. Listen, Julian Edelman's career is something that I don't think anybody would have saw coming. Listen, he was a rushing quarterback from Kent State. He broke Josh Cribbs' records for rushing and stuff like that, which I think might have helped him out with getting a shot at the NFL. But here's the thing. I guess, he was going to be going to the CFL. He had opportunities there, but Bill kind of saw that there was an opportunity maybe to become wide receiver and a punt returner. And what he did was he busted his butt every single day. He drove from Akron to Cleveland every day to learn the position. Ended up being drafted in the 7th round of the NFL draft. And he paid his dues for 5 years in the New England system. And when Wes Welker left, he kind of took that slot role and kind of pulled in there. And listen, he had an incredible career. I mean, I don't believe it's Hall of Fame worthy.
No. It's a Hall of Fame story.
Yeah.
No doubt it's a Hall of Fame story. A guy who's a quarterback at Kent State and then gets into the NFL. And at one point, I think in the the first Super Bowl that he played in, he played special teams, he played defense at slot corner, he played on the offense as well, catching passes. So I get it; it's a great story, and we like it. And he's a He's a little larger than life kind of character guy. You know, he's got the charisma. People like him. He's got a smoking hot girlfriend or wife. I don't know if they're married. I've seen pictures. Jeremy's every time Edelman's name comes up, Jeremy goes, "Hey, he's smashing." Yeah.
I mean, Julian Edelman's done a lot. I think the whole northeast of this country pretty much, thinks of him as a god.
Of course.
He's going to be a Patriots lifer, I think. It's funny. I have this small, afraid feeling that he's retiring, and somehow, some way, he'll find his way to Tampa Bay with the rest of the Patriots family going down there and winning another Super Bowl with Tommy. But I don't see that one coming. It was funny to think. Listen, this guy played. He's second behind Jerry Rice in receptions in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. He won a Super Bowl MVP. Mm-hmm. We were looking at some player comps earlier today. As far as Hall of Famers go,
it's fun. It's a fun little exercise. So on ProFootballReference.com, Julian Edelman and his player comps. There's only one Hall of Famer that is compared to him, statistics-wise for his entire career. And it's Lynn Swann.
Right.
And I have heard that mentioned a couple of times in these conversations that we've been having over the last, 12 hours of, is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer? Well, Lynn Swann didn't really have the stats, but he had, amazing plays and whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't care.
Right.
I can't get on board with putting a guy into the Hall of Fame that only has 36 touchdowns as a wide receiver, a guy who's supposed to have a lot of opportunities to get into the end zone. Because you could throw out stats for I want to say thousands of wide receivers who have way better stats than Julian Edelman.
Absolutely.
Were all of their catches memorable as Julian Edelman's? Absolutely not. Because I will never forget the catch in the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, right. That was the thing that sparked the turnaround.
Right. It was
so and kept it going, and they ended up winning the title.
Yeah, that catch and David Tyree's catch, obviously coming from a Giants fan, are pretty memorable. They were like, how did that even happen?
Right.
But when it comes down to it, Julian Edelman should not even have been where he was. And I think when you say something about his career, that's what you need to mention. I don't think we need to go Hall of Fame. I just think we need to mention that he was someone who shouldn't even have been there, and he worked his butt off, and he's a true story to everybody. Hey, listen, if you want to get your dreams, you can achieve them if you really try hard enough. You know what I mean? And that's awesome.
Well, he's a team. He's a team great.
Yeah.
He's a Ring of Honor guy.
Absolutely.
He's not a Hall of Famer. He doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
No,
if we had a postseason Hall of Fame, sure. Why not? Let's have a postseason Hall of Fame and throw him in it. No, that doesn't exist. He'll have his picture in the Hall of Fame. They'll have the little, the great memories and all that kind of stuff. They probably got a pair of his gloves sitting next to the ball that he made the catch with or whatever. But, having your own bust in Canton, you have to have the numbers.
Right.
The numbers have to be there.
Yeah.
And you look at all-time wide receivers, and Julian Edelman's just not even in the conversation of the greatest wide receivers of all time. His postseason stats, how much do you weigh those? How much do you value postseason to regular season? What are those stats in the postseason worth double? Okay.
It's hard to. That's what the one thing that people try to talk about a lot when it comes to, especially Julian Edelman, or a lot of these Patriots, or people who get their stat lines are going to be heavier because they played in a lot more games. Mm-hmm. Now, again, you got to do something more in the regular season. He basically only played about 7 seasons, and some of those were injured. I mean, his knee injuries are well documented. Mm-hmm. One thing that I do want to say about Julian Edelman that he did a lot for the Jewish community, for sports. He brought a lot of light to the situation, especially during these times where, some things were being said about, in that way, he's brought a lot of light to it. So another thing that he's done well, again, Julian Edelman's a great, great human being. And I think, again, we just need to start thinking about those kind of things as opposed to the Hall of Fame thing, except for, everybody in the Northeast of the United States is going to say, oh, Hall of Famer, first ballot, no doubt, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, if there's an all-time great guy Hall of Fame, sure.
Oh, shucks, Julian Edelman needs to be right there. I tell you what, that boy, he was real good. He's a nice fella.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I can understand, being a voice for the Jewish community and all of that. It's great. It's all great guy stuff.
Yes.
And this is part of the argument that I have with people about Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
I know that's great guy stuff, but I mean, he also has some stats to back it up as well. I mean, the guy's like top 10 and, among tight ends all time. So
yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. Should there be a slot receiver category in the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame? Should we start treating that differently? I mean, are we going to go down this path with every position? If so, Mike Allstott. Mike Allstott needs to be in the fucking Hall of Fame. If Julian Edelman's going to be in the Hall of Fame, we need to put Mike Allstott in the fullback Hall of Fame.
Well, I think Mike Allstott should be in the Hall of Fame anyways. That's just my personal opinion. And I know that's probably makes you all happy in a pants region when it talks about your team there.
It does, because I have this thought over and over and over again, and I'm typically on this show with someone who would laugh in my face for saying that. And I get if he was watching on the golf course right now, he'd be laughing his ass off.
He probably is. if he's going to jump in the comments and tell us how stupid we are here pretty soon. Right. It's going to be really funny. But I think Greg Olsen is. We've been on this conversation before.
Right.
Greg Olsen is top 10 in career stats as far as a tight end goes. Julian Edelman is not even sniffing top 10. Is he top 20? Honestly, I don't even know. I don't have the stats in front of me.
No, he's not. I've got. So the Pro Football Reference does a little Hall of Fame monitor, and they have the Hall of Fame score. The number one wide receiver all time is Jerry Rice. His Hall of Fame score is 311.81. Okay. Number two. Who's number two?
Oh, that's a good one. I'd say Randy Moss.
Yep. Randy Moss. Yep. You want to know what his score is?
289.
Nope. 149.59.
Wow.
That's the difference in this score between Jerry Rice and Randy Moss.
A little bit of a difference there.
A little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Would you like to know what Julian Edelman's score is?
Oh God, is it -12?
No, he's got a positive score.
He's a positive score. Tell me what it is.
36.18.
36.18.
He's down there with Plaxico Burress.
Oh, Plax.
Des Bryant. Michael Thomas.
Who's not even done playing yet?
Yeah. I mean, there's Amani Toomer.
Oh, hey.
There you go.
You just thrown out two giants, man. I'm like, listen, Plax, he got the touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, maybe there's a comparison to that.
You go just above him. It's Joe Horn, Santana Moss, and Greg Jennings. Even if those guys had great plays in the playoffs, I would never, ever have a discussion with anyone about them even sniffing a gold jacket.
Not even thinking about it.
No,
never thought.
Never close.
Never close.
Never close to the Hall. Julian Edelman was a great dude.
Right.
He's a great player. He's going to continue to be involved in the game, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him for, he's 35 years old. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. And he said he would play until the wheels fall off. And in his statement yesterday, he said they have fallen off.
Yeah.
I just can't do it anymore.
Right.
He failed a physical with the Patriots. I don't believe it's a lie. Like some have thrown this up. Oh, he just wants to leave New England to go play with Tom. No, that's not really how this works.
No, that's not how it works.
I mean, I guess.
Don't you need to be retired for at least a year or something from that team before you can join another team? I think that's.
I believe so.
There's some sort of law. Yeah. You can't just say, "Oh, I retire because I don't want to play here anymore." This would be starting a new trend that would not be very well for the National Football League.
There you go.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to say.
Okay, all right. We went down a path there, but I think we got the gist of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoy your day. You're getting plenty of pub.
Yep.
But fans of the New England Patriots need to stop with this this bullshit, because that's how it all started. Was the first Patriots fans were like, oh, he's just a Hall of Famer. And everybody else since then has been trying to go, y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
Stop that. I mean, you think about the wide receivers that are not in the Hall of Fame right now. Torrey Holt comes to mind.
Number one jumps off the list. And if you're talking about Julian Edelman getting in and Torrey Holt's not in, you're doing this wrong.
Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt. Who else are we waiting on? Andre Johnson. Anquan Bolden. I've had that conversation with a lot of people about Anquan Bolden, whether or not he should be a Hall of Famer. These are guys that we should be having the conversation about.
Right.
It's not Julian Edelman.
No.
Not even close. Hines Ward is another one. You won't say he had playoff success.
I think that, I mean, these guys, everybody you just named, is a Hall of Famer above Julian Edelman.
Absolutely.
And a couple of those are probably not even Hall of Famers.
No.
So
that's what I'm saying.
We're going.
Like, I like having the conversation with people about Hines Ward. I mean, I'm not dyed-in-the-wool stats guy, but I mean, he put up pretty good stats.
He did.
He was a ferocious wide receiver.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm a little biased because he was a Georgia Bulldog. But just the way others talked about him, and I get it. A lot of it was negative. It was, oh, he's a dirty player and all this kind of stuff. He just played with such physicality that it surprised people. And he was so happy about it. That's why he had the smile on his face. He was notorious. He was notorious for laying a big hit on a cornerback and then just smiling about it when he gets up. Dirty? Yeah.
Hines Ward is probably the best blocking wide receiver that we've had in this league. He chose that with a smile.
Oh, there should be a separate category for that. We got to have
category, best blocking wide receiver.
Blocking wide receivers.
Blocking wide receivers.
Slot receivers.
Yep. 100%.
If we're not having this conversation about Wes Welker, then I'm out.
Yeah, gone, done, over with.
Because to me, Wes Welker is better than Julian Edelman.
Yeah, career stats prove it.
That's just my opinion. And the fact that he started over Julian Edelman for 5 years.
5 years. Wasn't like Julian Edelman was knocking on his door there. No, not at all.
It's the recency bias that we all get caught up in. Of the latest is the greatest kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's retired. He's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You keep thinking that.
Yes.
And I get.
Listen,
again, I have to go back to the Greg Olson thing because everybody
always got to say something. Listen, you know what? Hats off.
Jeremy,
hats off to Julian Edelman. Great career.
That's right.
No Hall of Fame. No
Hall of Fame at all.
No talk.
Jeremy says he's digging this whole Jeremy's on the golf course on a Tuesday thing.
Good for him.
Good for you, bro.
Good for him, man.
Good for you. I'll comment the same thing when I'm planting plants on Thursday.
You can be planting tulips.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Damn it, I wish I'd have thought of that. Steph Curry last night. He passes Wilt Chamberlain on the all-time Golden State Warriors scoring list.
When I first heard Steph Curry passes Wilt Chamberlain, my first thought was, wait a second, Steph Curry's already passed Wilt Chamberlain on the all-time scoring list? And then you find out that it's just the Warriors all-time record.
It's the Warriors all-time.
Makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
A little bit more sense there.
17,783 was the record. Steph Curry beat it last night. I think he passed it in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I think he scored like 19 points in the first quarter of that ball game last night on his way to a 50 spot.
Right.
And they beat Jeremy's Denver Nuggets, by the way.
Yeah, and I think maybe the bigger thing to come out of that game was Jamal Murray getting hurt, and it's the opposite knee of what he was already been working on.
Right.
Oh, you really hope that he can just shut it down and be back for the playoffs, but I don't know. And Jeremy's fighting.
I think it's serious. I really
Western champion Denver Nuggets are might have a problem.
Well, I mean, he's been hurt all year long.
Yeah.
They've been good without him. I mean, they can't. I wouldn't think that they could contend for a title still without him. I mean, but they have been good without him. So it's not like they're going to tank.
They're still going to make the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
And if, you know, we don't know the severity of the injury. There hasn't really been a report as far as like time length on there.
He's
but
going for the MRI this morning, but I read into things.
Yeah.
When people say things, I come up with my own translations for them. And when I heard the tenor of the post-game comments from all of his teammates and his coach last night, it's not good. Like, every one of them said the exact same thing. We're hoping that he gets some good news.
Yeah.
Which means we don't think there's good news to be had. So, yeah, there it is.
There we go.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'd be willing to bet that it's a bad thing. Not that that's something I'm rooting for or anything. I would never gamble on someone else's health.
No.
But
yeah,
I don't think it's going to be good for Jamal Murray, and it's unfortunate because he has struggled with injuries. He just can't. This was his game back from being out for 4 games with a knee injury.
Right.
And more unfortunately, it was the other one.
Yeah.
It was the right knee before. Now it's the left knee, and the left knee may be screwed up. And you could see how a thing like that might happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're coming back from the injury, so maybe you're leaning on the left leg a little more than you normally do.
You're favoring that leg a little bit more, and these type of things tend to happen.
Right, you're off balance. You're trying to drive to the basket differently than you usually do, and your body's not used to making that move, or you're hesitant, or somewhat. It didn't look good. We all know that look. And when he was on the ground holding it and just in immediate pain, I went, okay, this is not just Jamal Murray, putting on a show kind of thing. Well, and so I think it's going to be bad, but I didn't never really think the Nuggets were a contender anyway.
Well, I mean, the West is open depending on it. Everything comes down to injuries. You know what I mean? There's some really good teams in the West, and Joker is playing out of control. Mm-hmm. The addition of Aaron Gordon, I think, helps this team so much more now.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
This kid might be coming out and lighting up the scoreboards now.
Right. But I mean, before this one, and they dropped the one the night before, so. I mean, I think they had won 7 in a row since Aaron Gordon had joined the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no doubt that they're better, and they would have been a threat. I'm not saying they're, when I say that, I never consider them a contenders because, I mean, I don't see them winning a 7-game series against the Lakers.
Right.
And that's what it all comes down to.
Exactly.
I still believe that, yes, they were a threat at the top. They could have had, they would have made a great series out of it. But
there's a lot of really good teams in the West.
Without Jamal Murray, it's obviously going to be very, very tough for them to win a title. And now, I really don't think this changes much.
No,
I think they're still the 5th best team in the league in the West. I mean, without Jamal Murray, you put Portland above them, Dallas, Memphis. I mean, those are the teams that are behind them now.
Maybe Portland, but Portland is just so weird to me. Portland seems like a team that should be so much better than they really are. Mm-hmm. I look across their.
It's that Russell Westbrook effect.
And that's the thing about Dame. You know what I mean? Like, is he going to be one of these guys that just throws up crazy stats and just never even comes close to winning it? I mean, he's almost like James Harden has been for a while now. And but at least James Harden was getting to conference semis and conference finals and was game or 2 away from the finals.
Right.
It's hard to look at a team that has that much talent and doesn't seem to succeed as much, So I think that might be a discussion for another day when we talk about something like that. But Denver's still going to be a contender in the West to make the playoffs without Jamal Murray. Championship goal without Jamal Murray, I don't think they can even come close.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them winning the first series.
Maybe.
And then things get interesting.
I mean, you got to think you got Utah, Phoenix, Clippers. Lakers.
Yeah.
You know, Lakers are losing enough games where they could end up being that 4 or 5 game right there, and it could be like, oh God, you're playing the Lakers first round, you're out of
I mean,
here.
but eventually you get to the Julian Edelman stage. Eventually the wheels will fall off of this thing.
Absolutely.
I get that. No, Nikola Jokic is.
He's good.
He's the greatest center I've ever seen.
Right.
I've never seen centers be able to move the way he is and handle the ball the way he is, and he's a phenomenal guy. And I like the rest of that team. And I really hope that Jeremy finds success with his fighting Denver Nuggets at some point. But it ain't going to be this year.
It's going to be really funny when the Knicks win a playoff series and the Nuggets don't. After he's decided to jump off the Knicks bandwagon and join the Denver Nuggets.
In the long run.
I swear to God, if the Knicks win a playoff series, because I am a huge Knicks fan, we all should know this by now, but good Lord, will that be funny as hell.
Yes. I can't wait for you to hold that over his head.
It's going to be
like, you jumped the shark too soon, bud.
I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to say thank you because it was obviously the curse of Jeremy Greene that was been holding back the Knicks for. It wasn't James Dolan.
No.
It was Jeremy Greene.
It was Jeremy Greene.
Jeremy Greene.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. That's why the New York Jets are going to fuck this draft up. Just wait. Just wait.
I don't know if they can. They've got too many picks, man. If they screw this
I know,
one,
but just the thought of it is like, I'm with Mark Schlereth on this though.
Yeah.
Mark Schlereth yesterday with the video. We talked about it on ESPN
Stink,
Asheville.
baby.
Yeah, Stank comes out with the video because he hurt some New York Jets fans' feelings, and he's just speaking the truth. Mm-hmm. He's just speaking the truth. When has it ever worked? Aside from 1969, when has it ever worked? It's never worked.
Joe Willie Namath ain't walking through that door, so to speak. I never thought that Namath was really that good.
He's not.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
He made one prediction that he got lucky on.
Yeah, but he was handsome and he was brash and he was New York and he was a bigger personality than he was an actual football player.
Right.
But still, I mean, the guy won a Super Bowl.
He did.
What can you say? He's the greatest quarterback in Jets history. He's not saying a lot.
Not a lot.
But he's the greatest quarterback in Jets history. But see, there you go. So this is a perfect tie-in to Steph Curry and getting, team goals like we talked about with Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
There are guys who are great for their team, maybe not all-time great. Now, I'm not saying Steph Curry's not all-time great.
I thought you were going down that path.
That's not where I'm going with this.
I was going to have to be like, whoa.
No. That's not where I'm going with this. That's
okay.
I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. Because I wanted to play a fun game.
Yes.
The fun game of can you identify the leading scorers for the following basketball teams?
Okay.
Now,
Here we
I
go.
warmed him up earlier with some, it was very easy ones, very obvious ones. Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. He had a little trouble with the Lakers, but it's Kobe Bryant. Just because there's so many greats that you think about. Is it Magic? Is it Kareem?
My mind automatically goes to, when we talk about all time, my mind immediately goes to all time. It doesn't go to more recent. But now that we've warmed this up, I think my brain's ready to rock. Let's do this.
All right, let's do this.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the local team first, Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets. Glenn Rice.
No.
It's not Glenn Rice.
Try again.
Wow. Let me see here.
Can't even think of one.
Kemba Walker?
It's Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker
with 12,009 points.
There we go.
For the Charlotte Hornets.
That wasn't too bad off.
That is not the lowest of the achievements.
Okay.
There's a reason I'm bringing this up as well.
Okay.
The lowest number is the Brooklyn Nets, who is their all-time leading scorer.
The Brooklyn Nets, which would include the New Jersey Nets in this?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to say Kerry Kittle.
No. You're thinking too hard.
Too hard.
Brooke Lopez.
Brooke Lopez. Kerry Kittle. Hey, again, I went older. Probably.
Nice.
He played with New Jersey for a long time, though.
He did.
And I thought, he averaged.
Longevity, sometimes longevity could be. How about the Fighting Denver Nuggets?
I'm going to say Carmelo Anthony, but it's probably Alex English.
Alex English.
See? I'm a Syracuse guy. Carmelo won me a championship. I got to throw his name out there anytime I can. You know what I'm saying?
Carmelo didn't hang around long enough to be the all-time leading
Alex
scorer.
English. Yeah.
Alex English was there forever.
Yeah.
And in fact, he's got one of the higher team career all-time leader.
He averaged like an insane amount of points per game for a very long time.
My first introduction to Alex English was my Game Boy video game.
Oh. Nice.
It had Kelly Tripucka and Alex English. It was that one-on-one NBA basketball game that only had one guy for each team.
Kelly Tripucka, what a name. What a name.
Oh, yeah, and I used to dog Patrick Ewing with Kelly Tripucka. He was dangerous from three.
He was
dangerous from three.
He could shoot the rock.
Give you some younger ones, younger franchises. Okay. Orlando Magic.
Dwight Howard?
Yep, that's very good. And then let's go with, the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns.
Think about it, that's been a revolving door for a long time.
Wow, Tom Chambers?
I bet you he's pretty close on the list. It's Walter Davis.
Walter Davis. I would have never got that.
Yeah,
I would have never got Walter Davis.
Now, here's the one that I really wanted to throw out there.
Okay, here we go.
If I had it, first off, I'm going to say I don't have it, so if somehow you pull this out of your ass, I'm not giving you $1 million, but I'd be willing to give you $1 million if you could tell me who the leading scorer all time for the Los Angeles Clippers is.
For the Los Angeles Clippers. Okay, hold the phone. Danny Manning.
No, it's not Danny Manning. You didn't go back far enough.
Oh,
it's Randy Smith.
Randy Smith.
Randy Smith.
God.
The one and the only. The former American professional basketball player who set the NBA record for consecutive games played.
Whoa!
From 1972 to 1982.
The Iron Man of NBA basketball.
Randy Smith.
You know, in the annals of time, when you think about the Iron Men of sports, it's, Lou Gehrig, Cal Ripken Jr., Brett Favre, Randy Smith. Randy Smith, that guy. Man,
right?
I would have never known.
No, it's like I'm poo-pooing on the achievement here for Steph Curry. It's great. I mean, I love Steph Curry, always have. Since he was at Davidson, we all loved the Cinderella story. The fact that he's Del Curry's kid.
Oh God,
who Del Curry was like my favorite basketball player growing up. As a Charlotte Hornet.
I have a question for you.
So, okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
In there. Do you think Steph Curry needs to leave Golden State?
Yes.
I do too. I think it's time. I think even when Clay comes back, I don't think they have an opportunity. And I think that I have this strange feeling him and LeBron are going to end up playing together somehow. I really do. And you know what? If Kyrie and James Harden and Kevin Durant can get together on a team, I don't give a crap what they do now, honestly.
Yeah.
If this is the way that things are going, hell with it. Let's just get 6 super teams and then the rest of them just fold. Then we start doing like English Premier League soccer where they get relegated down.
We can do that.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys are now in the B League or whatever the hell they want to call it nowadays. But it's just getting to that point. It's getting a little ridiculous. So.
You just get relegated down to the Eastern Conference. Yeah. So we'll have everybody in the West.
That makes more sense than it probably should. Yeah, I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you on that one.
Because look, in the East, we like college basketball better than we do pro basketball.
Yeah.
Send all the great guys out West. Yeah. It'll be fine. We're used to having sucky teams, so it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, when was the last time?
Yeah, when was it?
Miami?
Yeah.
Miami was the last time we had an East Coast team that was the team.
Yeah. Yeah. We had the Pistons before that.
Yeah, the Chicago Bulls, the Boston Celtics during the
I mean, there's been some
trio
teams. I think there's only been 9 teams total in the NBA that have won a championship in the history of the league.
Like it, yeah.
I think, and I don't think it's that far off, to be honest with you. I think it's like 9 or 10 teams total ever that have won a championship in the NBA.
I don't know if is it that exclusive of a club?
I don't know. Boston won 854 in a row.
Between Boston and LA.
Yeah, it's like you throw in a couple weird bucks there with Cream, and you throw into the Pistons, and you throw in the Houston Rockets and
the Mavericks.
But it does add up. It's if it's more than 10, it's not much more than 10.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where we're gonna go with that one.
But as a Charlotte Hornets fan, we're used to it. We'll take whatever.
Yeah.
Why not?
The Knicks won. One was like 73.
Something like that. Is that the Walt Clyde Frazier days?
Oh, come on now. We were pretty good that year.
Oh, I'm sure you were. I was alive for it.
50 years ago. I wasn't even a gleam in my daddy's eye yet, but I sure knew about them.
Oh, yeah.
I sure knew about them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hanging on to that championship forever.
Sure are. We sure are. But things are looking up for us because the curse of Jeremy Greene has been lifted, and soon we will be champions.
Playoff win?
A playoff win would be great.
Yeah.
How about?
See, that's all I'm hoping for with the Hornets. That's where we're at. Like, you realize we haven't been to the playoffs but like 3 times in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And we've never won a game.
Yeah.
You get swept out of the playoffs every time.
I know. Oh, man.
We're like the Minnesota Twins of the NBA.
Ooh.
We just can't win a game.
It's tough, and kind of you had so much hope going this year, and then LaMelo gets hurt, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, but they've still been playing well.
They have,
and they're going to get into the playoffs. And you know what? You start with one goal at a time. Get to the playoffs.
Yep.
Okay. We've gotten there, like I said, 3 times in the last 20 years. Now it's win a game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not win the series, just win a game, and that'll be progress. And then when LaMelo comes back, we'll move on to series.
Yeah, until Michael Jordan decides he wants to draft Luka Garza because he was a player of the year, because he loves drafting players of the year in the college basketball. So
don't enter that into my head yet. We've got good things going. We've got LaMelo, we've got Gordon Hayward. It's for the next couple of years, things could be really good. Don't chat upon the dream like that.
I apologize.
Because it's a very real possibility.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
It's a very real possibility something like that would happen. No, but so Steph Curry passes Wilt Chamberlain on the all-time Golden State Warriors list. The first thing that came into my mind was not, oh, what a great achievement. When did Wilt Chamberlain play for the Warriors? I mean, I knew he did, but what I'm saying is, how long did he play for the Warriors? Do you know the answer to that? Because I had to look it up. It was 5.5 years. The guy scored 17,783 points in 5.5 years.
Yeah.
His first 5.5 years in the league were with the Philadelphia Warriors. Then they moved to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So it was the Philadelphia/San Francisco Warriors. But that was during the time when he had the 50 season where he averaged 50 points a game.
50 points and 30 rebounds.
Right.
Because there was 2 other guys that were above 6'7" in the league. And one of them was Bill Russell, and he couldn't beat him ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Get out there. And Bill Russell was like, I'm your daddy. I got you, Wilt. I got you.
Well, I mean, by that time, Bill Russell was 40 years old. He was the grizzled vet at that point.
Bill Russell was still beating him at 40 years old.
Right.
Again, we talked about this.
I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that's why.
Yeah.
Because he was, I think he was probably the coach at that point.
He could, player/coach, which he did play. He did do that for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, he did. His last year.
Yeah, he sure did. That's. Could you imagine that happening nowadays?
I would. I have long, said I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron did it at some point.
I mean, he's been the coach without being the coach.
Right. He's always been the one making the decision or telling the guy what the decision's going to be.
Yeah.
That's why he hasn't really stuck with coaches.
No.
He's gone through the revolving door of coaches.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure. Ugh.
I mean, he had Spoelstra in Miami.
I could see him being like a player coach when Bronny comes into the league and he ends up being somehow the player coach for that team.
I mean, it's just, you realize it's going to get more and more insufferable for all you LeBron haters, right?
Yeah.
He's going to keep doing all of these things. Just happened to take a glance because I was curious where Steph Curry, since he just passed Wilt Chamberlain on the Golden State Warriors list, where's he rank all time? So I pulled up the all time stats. And then as I was looking at that, he's nowhere close, by the way. He's not even in the top 50 of scoring all time in the NBA. But looking at the all time list, and LeBron James is 3,104 points away from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar right now.
Yeah.
You know he's going to break that record, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know he's going to pass that record.
Wait, isn't Karl Malone there?
Karl Malone's 2.
2.
Yeah, Karl Malone's number 2. And he's going to...
Karl Malone.
Right.
I'm Karl Malone.
And he's got 1,600 points to pass Karl Malone for number 2 on the list. It's just he's going to keep racking up all of these accolades and these records, and he's going to continue to do things in the NBA that no one's ever done before because he can.
Yeah.
Because he's just that kind of guy. He's an accumulator.
Yeah.
And to me that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. To me he's already proven he's the greatest player in the game right now in his era. See how I meant it? See, we can agree on that, right?
Yes.
We can all agree that LeBron James is the greatest player of his era.
Absolutely, without a question, without a doubt, he's the greatest player of the last 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah. 20 years.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
Kobe fans, you're sorry. I get it. Championships. Blah, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's Michael 1. It's LeBron 2. Let's leave it at that and just
we'll go from there.
And just agree to disagree. Michael will always be number 1 to some. LeBron will always be number 1 to especially the younger generation.
Yeah.
This is their Michael Jordan. And he's doing the same, he's doing all the same things Jordan did, except for winning scoring titles.
Yeah. I'd be remiss.
I love the guy to death, but
yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that Patrick Holt had just posted one of the most impressive. He said, Wilt still owns the most impressive title, just saying. Do you know what
this is very true.
We know what he's talking about.
This is
we
very
know what he's
true.
talking about. Wilt Chamberlain had a way with the ladies, so to speak. So to speak. The notches on his belt are tough to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 10,000's a lot.
Yeah.
10,000 is the claim.
Yeah.
Are they still claiming that?
I think that's the claim. It was crazy. I think at one point people figured it out. It ended up being like 4 or 5 women in his, like, from when he turned 18 until like that point. And I was like, whoa. That's crazy. I can barely handle one woman. I love you, Christy.
Oh, yeah. No, women are way too crazy.
To have that many.
To have that. Yeah. But that's way too many. See, some people can do that. Some people can't.
Yeah.
You got to.
Because
to me, that's too many relationships. And then somebody else who looks at Wilt and goes, who the fuck said anything about a relationship?
Right.
We're not talking here. We don't have time to talk. You got 4 or 5 women a day. You don't have time to talk. It's just get it and go, buddy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Wilt does have the all-time record in that respect.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this is going to get more and more tough on you guys.
Yeah.
If you keep pushing back against this thing, it's going to get rougher and rougher because LeBron's going to do things that nobody's ever seen. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him end up as the player coach or hell, an owner player.
Owner player, yeah.
You just go ahead and pile all the money that you make from Space Jam 2 and buy a franchise.
God. I know, right? Well, I think he's on his way to becoming a billionaire. If he's not already there.
He's going. He by the time he's 50, you look at their lifetime span. By the time he's 50, he will probably have made Michael Jordan's career look like nothing compared in money.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about him building an empire.
His empire.
Because he's got his hands in so many different things. He's in the video game business. He's in the shoe business. He's in the movie business. He's doing TV programs. He's doing podcasts. He's doing everything. He's in on everything, and representing other athletes with an agency. And he is becoming the greatest entrepreneur in NBA history.
He's doing more with what he's been given than I think any other I think this is something that you're gonna see more. You are seeing more of that already. I think people are looking at what LeBron has done as far as his brand, and I think that's what is becoming more and more. And that's why I think you're seeing more and more of these guys get together, and their brand is more important. And what helps a brand? Winning championships.
Winning championships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting those rings.
Yeah.
For
rings
sure.
help.
Yep. Rings do help.
So you bring them all, you bring more and more super teams together. The way we got down this rabbit hole was with Steph Curry.
Yeah, exactly.
Steph Curry leaving Golden State. I mean, I think he should, but I think he's going to be lambasted for it.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I've heard several people opine that, they could see Steph Curry leaving Golden State and joining the LA Lakers and getting up with LeBron for the last couple of years of his career and they could go out together, kind of a thing.
That would be awesome.
It would be a cool thing to see, but it's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
I honestly believe it'll hurt their legacies because there will always be those people that say, "Oh, you just got together to win rings."
I think it would hurt. I think it would hurt Steph's legacy more than it would hurt LeBron's legacy.
Well, LeBron's legacy it can't be it can't be touched. LeBron's legacy is so is cemented right now because of the divide that people have about it.
Yeah.
Like their opinions are never going to change one way or the other.
Yeah.
And he's been in the league so long and he's already, gotten so many achievements that it's never going to be enough for them to put him over Michael. I mean, even if he hung on for the next 6 years and he was able to put super team after super team after super team together for the next 6 years and still win all the titles, no, they're not going to give him any credit for it.
No.
So I don't think it's going to hurt him.
It's going to be Jordan played 6, won 6 MVPs. That's all it's ever going to be. I think LeBron could win 10 damn championships and people are still going to say, well, you lost 6.
Oh, yeah.
So it don't really matter.
No. It's the same thing. I really don't think in the grand scheme of things, it would really hurt Steph Curry all that much.
Well,
if he left Golden State now, like he built the super team. He was the foundation of the super team that they had that won.
I only say that because I think what will be said was, oh, LeBron won those championships and you didn't win those championships. Kind of like, but to me, I mean, this whole thing about championships is sometimes overblown. You know what I mean? It's tough to say. The argument goes either way sometimes. I know that we have arguments sometimes where we talk about championships matter, and then we have them where they don't matter as much, and that's the problem with what we do. We can't nail the head.
See, but I don't think championships, it depends on what context you're talking about a championship mattering.
Right.
Like, if you're talking about the championships matter for football players, if you're a quarterback.
Okay, yeah.
If you're a quarterback, championships matter. This is going back to the Julian Edelman argument.
Yeah.
Just because Julian Edelman won 3 Super Bowl rings with the New England Patriots doesn't mean he is a Hall of Fame wide receiver because the dude had, 600 catches in his career for 36 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah, daddy.
Rock and roll.
Those are popping off the stat sheet, baby.
You don't get credit for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we gave credit for rings, Robert Horry would be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, 100%. Big Shot Bob.
Yeah.
Big Shot Bob.
But
dude,
he's not.
Dude,
and we can all sit back and
9?
go, somewhere.
I think
8, something like that.
8 or 9?
Yeah.
7? No, it was 7. How many does Tom Brady have?
He's got 7.
Yeah, it's 7. Because I think when Tom won his 7th, I think Big Shot Bob was like, I got 7.
Okay.
I know he won 3 with the Lakers, 2 with Houston, and 2 with San
Spurs,
Antonio. Yeah, so I think it's 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there you go. I mean, it depends on what role you played. Like Robert Horry was a good player. And he played a big role in some of those championship games.
Yeah.
That's why he got the nickname Big Shot Bob.
No doubt.
But we all understand what that was. I mean, he was okay.
They just
but he's not
him
a Hall of Famer.
Roll him off the bench in the last second of the game. Oh, yeah, Rob, go ahead. We're going to run a play for you. You haven't played a single minute all game, but you're going to hit this one to win the game, I guarantee you.
Right.
I mean, and he would do it every time.
Right. But then you look at Michael Jordan and his 6 championships. The contributions from the two are not even comparison.
Measurable.
But wait, Robert Horry has more rings. So no, championships don't always matter.
Right.
It depends on the context you're talking in.
Exactly.
So I mean, Steph Curry gets credit for Steph Curry's rings.
Yeah.
Because he was the chief. He was the initiator of all of it.
Him becoming who he was as a player was what started the Golden State dynasty.
Right. Now, as a fan of a team who's won a championship recently,
oh boy,
I will say that championships do matter. they only warm the soul.
Yeah. I agree.
Really, they cure every ill because there have been years of really, really lean. I mean, Brian, you're a New York Giants fan, so you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
The lean years, they're really lean. But the good years, they're really, really good.
They
Championships do matter.
I mean, tears flow. It's tough. When you win a championship of your favorite team, it's one of the greatest days in the history of your entire life.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, until the next one.
I just thank God I'm not part of a different generation.
Okay.
If I were part of a different generation, I wouldn't have gotten to see the cool things that I have gotten to see with all of my teams. Yeah. I mean, be it growing up, all of my teams I got from birth. I got from my dad.
Yep.
So I've not jumped ship. I'm not a bandwagon jumper. I tried to jump to the Carolina Panthers bandwagon years ago, and it didn't happen. Because at the same time they were coming up, the Bucs were starting to get good, and I was like, "Oh, this is my team!" And then they won a Super Bowl.
And it's tough because you're in the same division. How can you really like two teams in the same division?
Exactly.
So it kind of. I will tell you, I was in Charlotte for 20 years of my life before I moved here to Asheville.
Right.
Grew up in upstate New York, but you become a fan of where you live. I think if you lived in Charlotte, it would have been tough not to become a Panther fan. Obviously, if they were playing the Giants, I'd be like, screw you guys.
Right.
Like, there was a year we beat them like 35-0, and then the year after that they beat us like 450-2.
Right.
So I was like, oh God.
You can't really be a fan of a team if you're rooting for them to finish second in the division.
Yeah, you can't do it.
It's really hard to do that.
It's not gonna. Yeah.
I always have a soft spot in my heart for the Panthers. They had some of my favorite players growing up.
Yeah.
Julius Peppers being a Carolina guy.
Of course.
And then going to the Panthers and being just otherworldly. In the early days, I mean, Kevin Greene and Sam Mills and Wesley Walls. And I mean, these guys were great. Loved him. Reggie White was my favorite player when he was with the Green Bay Packers, and then he came to Carolina to finish out his career. I really loved that.
It was huge for the city. Yeah.
He was great. But as a North Carolina boy, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But, I think about the things that I've been able to see.
Yeah.
Going from Tar Heel championships to Red Sox championships, breaking the curse, all that stuff. Yeah. And then now 2 championships with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The only one that I don't have is the Charlotte Hornets getting an NBA ring, and I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Oh, come on
There are
now.
just some franchises that I believe are never going to win a title because it's very hard to do so. And I said this yesterday about the Atlanta Falcons, and I think it was Jeremy that was like, "Oh, are you saying Atlanta's never going to win?" Yeah, I am.
You
because
never know what can
works.
happen.
Sure.
Think about this. Who thought Cleveland was going to win a damn championship until they got LeBron James? You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be a all-world athlete that ends up getting drafted for some place that's never won before, and he's going to change the whole franchise around, and we don't know the future. It seems like Charlotte's one of those teams that may not ever get there, but they've had chances. If you would have drafted the right players over the last 10 years, you probably could have at least sniffed a championship.
You could have at least won a playoff game.
Yeah, won a playoff.
What you're saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like there's always the ceiling is the roof, as Michael likes to say, and we just can't break through the ceiling because of the roof.
Yeah.
I think it's because they're on top of each other.
Is that it?
It's a double barrier.
Is that what it was?
You can't penetrate through the double barrier.
Penetration.
That's right. You always wrap that thing twice.
You got to do it
Mama
twice.
always told me. But championships do matter,
Yeah.
and it does a lot to cure a lot of ills, just like A.J. Hinch going back to Houston.
Oh, boy.
A.J. Hinch, of course, the one of the, well, I guess he wasn't the orchestrator. They finally pinned that all on Carlos Beltran, right? That he was the orchestrator of the trash can thing.
It seemed like it was a combination of Alex Cora and Carlos Beltran.
No, Alex Cora's clean. He didn't do anything.
Oh, he's clean. Alex Cora is as clean as the toilet paper I used this morning.
Oh.
In this whole thing. Oh. He stinks. Yeah. Listen, the sounds of banging trash cans were raining from the sky in Houston as they welcome back their hero, A.J. Hinch. Give me a break. Like, I get it. You won a championship there. He was the coach.
Yep.
Great job. You cheated. You cheated. You still got to win the games. I was talking about this earlier. If my team cheated and won a championship, I'd say booyah to everybody else. Because I'd be still walking around with that championship about it, going like, what's up, champion?
Championship.
Yeah, exactly. So, are we really worried about that?
I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. While I'm not personally invested in all of this, it was, even though the Red Sox did lose to the Houston Astros in that playoffs.
Yeah, they did. Yankees,
you know what?
Oakland Athletics. I think they all have a little bit.
It is what it is. It happened. They found out a way to game the system. They got away with it for a year, or a couple of years. Although they say it didn't stretch on beyond the World Series season.
It was just that.
Just that, because this is a team that won the World Series, then made it to the championship series the next year, and then went to the World Series again and lost to the Nationals. They had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch, and you know what? I don't give a shit. I really don't. I don't care that they were stealing signs. If you don't want your signs stolen, then figure out some kind of IFB system so you can tell each other what you're doing.
Figure it out.
Rather than doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2021, and we're still doing this.
Right.
To tell you what to do on the base paths.
Right. Well,
I feel like we've got some ways of communication that we could make that easier.
I do. And I feel like, baseball's just so entrenched in that old way of thinking that they were like, there's no way people are going to figure out technology to steal these signs. No way they will. The integrity of the game is stronger than what we could do with technology.
And hell, they can't even figure out how replay works.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Obviously, they never thought somebody would use video to take images of other team signs and crack the code and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. While all of that's to be said, and I throw this out, I throw the baby out with the bathwater and all of this. Just I don't give a shit. Let them have their championship. Move on. Baseball should have suspended some of the players.
100%.
That's clear. We 100%. All know that that's a travesty. That's bullshit. That the owner. Or not the owner, the general manager got fired, the manager got fired, the manager of the other team got fired, the Red Sox got fired because he was an assistant that year. Beltran's just on the blacklist. Apparently nobody wants anything to do with him anymore.
He can't get a job anywhere now. I mean, he was hired and fired within like a week or a day. I think it was a day, a weekday or something like that. I don't know.
Which, shocker of shockers, who's surprised that Carlos Beltran wasn't getting along with people.
Right, but he can't get a job anymore. Everybody else can get a job, but Carlos Beltran, sorry, buddy. Yeah. Sorry about your luck. You just ain't getting a job ever.
Yeah, we'll forgive and forget if he'll get another chance at some point. But A.J. Hinch, obviously, he's too good of a manager to let sit in, so the Detroit Tigers hired him.
Yep.
The Red Sox got Alex Cora back, which, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I will take it. But the fans haven't had their chance yet.
Yeah.
We as fans have not had our chance yet to get our retribution against the Houston Astros. Yeah. On opening day, I heard somebody on Fox News Radio, or not Fox News Radio, Fox Sports Radio, talking about how stupid the fans were for, screaming and booing at the Houston Astros for the sign stealing scandal that happened 2 years ago. Well, I get it. but we haven't had our chance yet.
Right.
We haven't had full stadiums in a long time.
Yeah.
We haven't had the chance.
Yeah.
I remember I was so locked in too before the shutdown.
Yeah.
I was watching spring training games.
Yeah.
Just to see how the spring training opposing fans were going to treat the Houston Astros, and they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And then everything got derailed, and we didn't get to see it. So this is the punishment tour, a year delayed. Let them have it. Because honestly, is another thing. Stop fighting it.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
You got to let the fans get their licks in, and it's going to happen throughout the entire season.
Right.
And I, for one, am here for it.
Yo, I'm
because
all
you
in.
absolutely have to take that.
I'm all in.
I get that there are only 5 guys left on the team from that championship year.
I don't care.
I don't care either. Like, you will forever be stained by that. At least give us a little more time to boo. Now, obviously, there was no boos yesterday because they were in the cheater ballpark.
Of course.
The cheaters were like, hey, our cheater manager's
we
coming
love
back.
you, AJ Hinch. You're the greatest of all time. Listen, I'm all here for it. I love seeing trash cans getting thrown on the damn field. I know it disrupts. Oh, my God, they disrupt the baseball game with a trash can. Who cares? Baseball needs some of this stuff in there to get a little bit more exciting. Listen, what does Jeremy say? The Colin Cowherd thing all the time? Fan is short for fanatic.
Yep.
When you do not allow fanatics to absolutely unload on a team like Houston, you delayed that for a year because of unforeseen things that were going to happen. Get over it. It's going to happen all year long, probably into next year. You know, in a couple years, if they're still doing it, I might then say, all right, let's get over this.
Right.
But right now, I'm all in for it. Bang them trash cans, throw them on the field. I don't care what happens. Oscar or Grouch can come out of the trash can and say hello to everybody, and I just don't give a crap.
Now, if there were still pitchers throwing at Astros like they were in spring training last year, sure. You could have an issue with that. It's been a while. You've already had a season. You guys got to deal with that. But the fans haven't got their chance yet.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
But last night, A.J. Hinch makes his return to Houston. They embraced him. They gave him the curtain call. They played videos of how great he was. Well, I mean, because it wasn't just about the sign stealing scandal. I mean, he was a figurehead in that community after Hurricane Harvey.
And that's what some people tend to forget about that whole run, is kind of thrown down because of the scandal, but we tend to forget it was almost very similar to what the Saints did after Hurricane Katrina and they winning the Super Bowl. Houston did the same thing, and if you don't have this scandal, you're probably looking on that in a much different light.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I mean, because before the sign stealing scandal, I mean, we were talking about, is this one of the greatest teams we've ever seen?
Right.
Because they had 109, 110 wins that 1 year or something like that?
They had a lot of wins. And it was all built, too, because they were they just tanked for so many years. And then someone would get good and they would trade off. And they finally worked their way to where all these draft picks and these prospects that they were getting all came up at the same exact time. And it was this perfect storm of awesomeness. Mm-hmm. And then they get Verlander and that kind of helps out too.
Right.
So, getting one of the greatest pitchers of the last, 20 years will help out winning in championships for sure.
But I mean, it just goes to show you, how much a championship can change things.
Yeah.
Because had they not won a championship, think about how different that reception would have been. That reception would have been completely different because that was the scandal that blew up the entire franchise.
People you cheated and you still couldn't win. You suck!
Exactly.
You suck! Go home!
Without the championship, that would have been a much different reception. So just think about it.
Yes.
It's wild how championships can change things.
It does. It does absolutely 100% change just about everything.
I mean, think about the Masters. We just had the Masters on Sunday. Think about how different the conversation would be about Hideki Matsuyama, or would have been yesterday, had he choked. Had he finished the choke job, because the choke job was coming.
Yeah. It was.
He had a 6-stroke lead with 7 or 8 holes left.
He hits it in the water, and you're all like, this is going to happen right now.
Had he had 2 more holes to go, it probably would have finished the choke job, and somebody would have backed into the title, into the green jacket. But think about how the tenor would have changed on that story.
He's going home to a ticker tape parade in Japan as opposed to having some armed security guards around him as he's getting off.
As opposed to everyone looking on at him going, you had a 6-stroke lead.
Yeah.
How the hell did you do that?
Yeah, and we would have never heard from Hideki Matsuyama ever again.
Right.
He'd be gone.
Championships do matter. Unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers don't have one of those. They've tried. They've tried real hard. They've gotten close twice.
They did. There's an opportunity here.
Is there an opportunity here? I believe so. I believe there is an opportunity under the Matt Rule era.
I liked a lot of things that they did last year. I think the game management could be a lot better. There was some timeouts called, and it's well documented. It was absolutely pathetic sometimes, and I think that could be picked up. I think Sam Darnold can be really, really good. I don't see Sam Darnold going down and this being like one of those things. I honestly think he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. I don't think he's going to be what we've seen in New York.
Right.
Right.
I think he'll be much better in Matt Rule's system. And yesterday was the introductory press conference, and Sam said all the right things.
Yeah, of course he does.
Of course, everybody said all the right things. We got a lot of coach speak yesterday, and Teddy Bridgewater, when his name came up in discussion, it was no different. It was, we're gonna just see how this thing plays out. And it is what it is, was basically the tenor of everything, which basically translates into, what will you give me for him?
Yeah.
What will you give me for Teddy Bridgewater? Because they need to do something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a good idea for them to try to hang on to Teddy and Sam at the same time.
That would be so terrible. That would be something that could derail what I think is a up and coming team.
Right.
If you keep Teddy around next year, the first time Sam throws for a couple interceptions, every Carolina fan, let's put in Teddy. Listen, here's the thing too. I thought that PJ Walker did a pretty decent job in the game that he got to start last year.
Okay.
You still have Will Greer.
Who's the dude?
He's a dude. I think you can get a 5th or 6th round draft pick for Teddy Bridgewater. Now, there is very few teams left in the carousel. Mm-hmm. I think Denver is a spot, and I think Chicago is a spot. The only problem that I have with Chicago is I don't know how that contract would work out. And are they willing to take in $35 million and 2 over-the-hill quarterbacks?
No. Because think about this. So in Chicago, you'd have Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
You'd have Nick Foles.
Yeah.
You'd have Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Nick Foles makes $20 million.
$20 million.
Andy Dalton makes $10 million.
$10 million.
Teddy's going to make 17.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
You're not going to tie up that much money into 3 quarterbacks that you don't know who the fuck. Like, imagine trying to guess that revolving door week to week of who is good. You would have your fan base would be just severed completely. You'd have a Teddy faction, an Andy Dalton faction. You'd have another faction for Nick Foles. And then you'd have this other faction down here, which would be a much bigger piece of the bear paw that we're creating here, of people who go, what? These are not real quarterbacks. Why are we trying to do this?
And you know what the messed up thing is? They'll probably still make the freaking playoffs, right? We've seen this before. Kyle Orton, Rex Grossman, the Chicago Bears somehow, some way throw out garbage quarterbacks and they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, do I think that can happen with what they have? I do not. But going back to the whole Denver thing.
Yeah.
I could see Denver saying, let's get Teddy. Mm-hmm. Let's try to maybe trade up or see who's left at 9. And we can either run with maybe Trey Lance or Justin Fields, and we have Teddy as that bridge between that quarterback. If you're asking me, I think Denver's the perfect situation. Other than that, I just don't know where else he could go. Do you have any thoughts?
If Teddy's not going to Denver, or if Teddy goes to Denver, Denver's not drafting a quarterback.
Okay.
Because you've got Drew Lock. And while Drew Lock's not the future of your franchise, he's still low-level starter in this league. If you go with Teddy Bridgewater, to me, you're going after him as a backup. You're going after him as the guy who's the fail-safe to Drew Lock. We're giving Drew's going to start the season. Drew will get X amount of games to try to prove himself, and then Teddy will come in. See, that's the thing. I don't know if Teddy wants to sign up for that again.
I don't know. I would disagree. I think Drew Lock has had his chance, and he's done. I mean, I don't think there's. I think Drew Lock is the backup to whatever situation happens. Period. I think if they draft a rookie, Drew Lock's not going to be that bridge quarterback. He's not starting a game.
Yeah.
I think that if they get Teddy Bridgewater, I think that's what happens. Now, I think Teddy can still be a starter in this league. I do. I really do. There's not 32 quarterbacks better than Teddy Bridgewater in this league right now. I just don't see it. It's just got to be the situation. And there's not very many situations left to be a starter quarterback in this league here. Mm-mm. So I think what the best thing Carolina could possibly do is actually hold on to Teddy for a little bit, wait for maybe one of those preseason injuries to happen, and get that. But I think the longer you hold him around, the more problems you're going to have. You got to go into the season, and it's got to be Sam, and Teddy can't be there. Period.
Well, part of the problem for Carolina too is that the guaranteed money increases.
It's tough. Yeah,
the guaranteed money will increase if he's on the roster week one.
Okay. Yeah.
His guaranteed money will go from $10 million to $17 million
week one.
On week one, if he's still on the roster.
Is there a date during the preseason that would be different?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's a difference, the post-June 1 number and all of that.
Date,
yeah. Jeremy's the salary cap guy. He keeps way better track of that. He understands it better than I do. But I think there is a difference between the post-June 1 hit and all of that. I think Carolina's in a position where it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Something has to happen here. Mm-hmm. They're hoping that they can get something for him.
Yeah.
But is there a team that's going to be willing to get it? And maybe George Payton's the guy. Maybe George Payton, if George Payton was the understudy to Rick Spielman in Minnesota when he drafted Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
So there is a connection there. Maybe he's willing to give up a 6th-round pick. But I think if you can get that for him, get it now and get it as soon as possible.
As soon as they say, we'll give you a pick, whether it says any number in front of it, you say, okay, we'll take it.
There's another problem of somebody's going to have a conversation with Teddy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure these, if it's going to happen, these conversations have already been happening of, if you want to go somewhere, nobody's going to pay you $17 million.
No.
So you're going to have to rework your contract somehow, and then we can trade you.
Yeah.
You can work out whatever deal with your new team to make less money, but nobody's going to give you this money.
And if I'm Teddy Bridgewater, I guess that depends on what he wants to be.
Do I want to play? Do I want the money?
Do I want to play or do I want the money? I see Teddy Bridgewater being a guy that wants to play.
Yeah.
But you're right. He's a good guy. You got to have that conversation with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
You can't leave him out there like they've been doing. They've actually, the way they've treated Teddy in this offseason is the one black mark in the offseason for the Panthers that I think is happening.
I don't really agree with that.
Okay.
I mean, Teddy understands that the NFL is a business. I think all players are mature enough to understand, well, not all of them, but the majority of them, especially guys like Teddy Bridgewater, who's been through how many teams now? Mm-hmm. He's been through the process of being a backup quarterback, being the guy behind Drew Brees, getting ousted by Sam Darnold this is the second time
now he's been ousted by Sam Darnold. Poor bastard.
But, I mean, you think about his career. I mean, from, being drafted by the Vikings to the injury to the moving to now his 4th different team. I think he understands what his value is.
Yeah.
That they were willing to take a chance on him last year. Last year didn't go to everybody's standards, even though I don't think he had a horrible year last year. He still completed 70% of his passes.
It wasn't like he was the worst quarterback in the league. Right. I mean, he was still better than half of the quarterbacks.
They didn't get into the end zone.
Yeah.
And we talked about that all year long last year of how little they were scoring touchdowns and through the air anyway. It was the thing. Mm-hmm. And so fans aren't really happy about that. We understand. Now we're in a situation where we have a younger quarterback who's, honestly better.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to make an adjustment here.
Yeah.
And I think Teddy is probably, he understands that something's going to have to change.
I agree.
So whether they can get him to renegotiate his contract or whatever, but I have seen, I've seen quote unquote experts and analysts out there saying Teddy Bridgewater needs to still be on this team in case something happens to Sam Darnold. I don't think that's how this is working. Sam's not coming in here with Teddy breathing down his back.
No,
because if Sam comes out and your first couple of weeks don't go right, then they go, oh, well, shit, we were better off with Teddy Bridgewater.
You just don't want that.
Right. You're already taking a quarterback who's coming from the worst situation I think any quarterback has been through in the first 3 years. I mean, he gets drafted to New York. He gets 1 year with Todd Bowles and his staff, and then Adam Gase comes in and his googly ass goofiness.
Oh, my God. So bad.
And it was god-awful. And, Sam could have played better, sure, but had no weapons, had no line. And all of these things come into play. He was on a really, really shitty team in a very shitty situation that was never going to work. And we said that when they hired him from Miami.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody universally said, this is a bad idea.
Real bad.
And nobody listened.
Nobody.
So...
And then gave him an extra year.
Right. But then you bring him in... But then you bring Sam Darnold to Carolina. He's already got a rocky start.
Yeah.
So most fans, or I'm not going to say most fans, but a lot of Carolina Panther fans that I've seen on message boards and social media and talking to people on the street, they are very concerned about the Sam Darnold thing.
Yeah.
They don't know that this is the right path.
Right.
In fact, they're pretty sure it's the wrong path.
There's been a lot.
You're not going to start that guy out in this offense with a guy right behind him who was just the starter last year.
Right.
Because Sam Darnold comes out and starts completing 45% of his passes in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Right.
There's Teddy sitting there, and fans are going, that guy can at least get people the ball.
Yeah. I mean, there was people. I mean, Carolina fans are a little obsessive sometimes. I mean, if you're a fan and you know what you're talking about, if you look and say that Teddy Bridgewater is a better option than Sam Darnold, then you're absolutely the fanatic. And like we talk about, you got to make sure if you're going to go with Sam Darnold, you go all the way in. You have to do everything you can for your quarterback. Everything you can do for your quarterback.
Yeah.
And having Teddy Bridgewater behind you is detrimental to the success of the Carolina Panthers and the success of Sam Darnold.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think you have to get Teddy out of there.
Yep.
There's no way that you can hang on to him. And that never was the intention.
Yeah.
The intention from day one was we're going to find a quarterback some way, somehow, somewhere.
They made that very clear in their first offseason.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, he's our quarterback.
And see, that's why
that's
why I've said I don't think Teddy's been treated poorly in this whole thing. Matt Rule has been upfront and honest from the get-go. Maybe he shouldn't have been as honest about it, but I kind of admire a guy who says, you know what? We're not settled at quarterback. Teddy's going to have to do a lot to prove to us that he's our guy for the future.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL is not a world where a coach can just hang around and wait.
Nope.
I can't wait for you to do better because I'm going to lose my job. The NFL, and the Carolina Panthers especially, when you have the momentum that's behind the franchise right now, not just on the field. I'm talking about everything with, David Tepper coming in and all of the expansion that's going around with this team and the money that they're investing in the new training facilities down in Rock Hill, and they want to build a new stadium and all of that, and not waiting for that shit.
Nope.
David Tepper is not a guy who waits for things to happen, and I think Matt Rule understands that.
Yeah.
And so that's why Teddy was what we felt was the right move last year.
Right.
In a weird pandemic year.
It was a good,
it was
a good move. They got him for a value. They got him for a pretty good value for that year when there was no other quarterbacks out there, and we were not going with Cam Newton and the quarterback. We're not going with Will Grier at quarterback. So I think that was a good bridge year to show the fans, like, I think Teddy was good. I think Teddy was good for Matt Rule. I think Teddy was good for Joe Brady. I think that was impressive for them. And going forward, you're 100% right. Carolina's trajectory is upwards, and we don't want to do anything to ruin that right now.
Right.
And I think this would be the first step in having some problems in that trajectory right there.
Yeah. It is the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Brian Haynes. It is good to have you here with us in the Wicked Weed studio. Yeah, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Be sure to like and share it as well with all of your friends. You'll know every time we put out new content here as we continue to roll on with the 3-round mock drafts for each and every team. Your team will be covered. We've got it all broken down into the playlist on the channel. So like I said, like, subscribe, share it, all that good stuff. We will see you next time. Again, I'm Tank Spencer. He's Brian Haynes. We'll see you next time.